So today we're revisiting YouTube video number 14 and it only got around 50 views, so I thought it deserved another chance, and while we're at it, we're going to find out together whether my editing skills have improved since then. So let's see if this crackle effect is still as good as I remember. So the resin I'll be using today is the J-Diction 1:1 casting resin, and I popped it into my resinous dual mixer just to give it a thorough mix, and then dividing it into 4 cups. 3 with around 110 millilitres in each, and a fourth with just 80 millilitres, because that's going to be my heavy pigment, and because it's so heavy we're not going to need as much. Now the secret to this technique isn't actually the colour you choose, it's the combination and the resin thickness, the order you pour your layers, and the different weights of the pigments. Get those 3 things working together and the resin does the clever bit all by itself. So I've waited until my resin reaches around 35 to 40 degrees before adding any of my pigments. For this first experiment, I'm sticking with a purple theme, using a transparent purple dye, a purple interference powder, and a deep purple mica powder. A lot of people tend to use gold for this technique, and there's a good reason for that. Gold is naturally one of the heavier mica powders, which until now I had no clue about. But I wanted to see whether I could achieve the same effect using the purple instead. And as you can see, I'm adding a generous amount of pigment, and once everything is thoroughly mixed, it's time to pour. So time for introductions. For those who don't know me, my name's Tony, and welcome to Georgie's Gorgeous Gifts, where I test all the resin ideas, including the ones that go spectacularly wrong, just so you don't have to. Now this is the part where the magic really starts to happen. It can really be tempting to change the order or throw in some extra colours, but if you want the best chance of recreating this effect, it's worth sticking to the same layering every time. So I'm starting off with a really thin layer of the transparent purple, just enough to cover the base of the mould. Then using my spatula, I'm pushing it right out to the edges to create the foundation for everything else. And now it's time to build the stack. So first comes the heavy purple pigment, straight into the centre, and that's what's going to do most of the hard work. So the next layer is the purple interference powder, and although it might not look much right now, every layer has its own job to do. Then it's back in with another layer of the transparent purple, keeping everything right in the middle. No swirling, no spreading, just building up the layers. Then another layer of the interference powder goes on top of that. So traditionally, this layer would be a pearl white mica powder, but because I wanted to keep everything within the same purple colour palette, I'm swapping it for the purple interference powder instead, and I was really curious to see whether that would change the final effect. So finally, one more layer of the heavy purple pigment completes the stack, and now for my favourite part, the clear push. This is going to send all those layers flowing out towards the edges of the mould. Then as the resin slowly cures, everything begins pulling back in on itself, and that's what's going to create those beautiful little crackles. At this stage, the hardest thing to do is simply leave it alone. So that's our first crackle. So for this next coaster, everything is staying exactly the same. The only thing I'm changing is the heavy pigment, and that way, if the result looks different, we'll know exactly what caused it. So this time I'm using a metallic turquoise pigment paste instead of the purple mica powder, and for the transparent layer, I'm mixing up some of this gorgeous blue cyan. Cyan. Anyway, for the lighter pigment, I'm going back to the pearl white mica powder. And this is exactly why you shouldn't mix mica powder over your mould, because somehow it manages to end up absolutely everywhere. So with the colours ready, I'm starting exactly the same way as before with a transparent base, and because this mould is larger, I'm gently tilting it to make sure that the resin reaches every edge. From here, everything stays exactly the same. I'm only changing one variable, so the pouring order doesn't change at all. The metallic pigment paste is heavier than the transparent resin, so I was really interested to see whether that would create the tighter crackle pattern or completely ruin the effect. At this point, there's only one way to find out. So after my layers, to finish this coaster, it's time for the clear push once again. And now comes the difficult part, resisting the temptation to keep fiddling with it. So from here, the resin takes over and those different pigment weights begin doing exactly what they're supposed to do. Now this is the bit I could honestly watch all day. Sped up, it's fascinating to watch all those colours slowly pull back in on themselves as the crackle pattern begins to appear. So after leaving it for a while, there was still quite a large clear space in the middle. So once the resin had thickened a little, I decided to add some blue shell chips just to give the centre a bit more interest. Unfortunately, they had completely different ideas and immediately scattered themselves all over the coaster, so out came the micro brush to persuade them back to where I actually wanted them. And I couldn't resist pouring a small bonus coaster with what was left over. Rather than layering these colours properly, I'm just giving them a gentle swirl. So now it's time for a closer look, and you can really start to see those crackles developing, and I absolutely love that depth that's appearing in these colours. And looking at the purple ones, that interference powder is especially impressive. As it catches the light, it shifts through different shades of purple, adding a completely different dimension to the piece. It's those little details like that which make every coaster completely unique. Then it was simply a case of leaving everything to cure completely. Definitely easier said than done, because I didn't want to risk putting these into the G3 because I didn't want to speed up the curing process. For this technique, I wanted the resin to develop naturally. So let's get these out of the mould. And I'm really happy with how this one's turned out. And for two of the coasters, I've added some purple and white crystal chips into the centre, and the other two, I've added some darker purple chips instead. Now the last two are the pair where I used the pearl white mica powder instead of the purple interference powder, and honestly, there's much less difference than I expected. The purple has definitely taken over more than I'd planned, but if you're looking for a stronger overall colour, the interference powder is still well worth trying. And now time to demould the little leftover coaster. I really wasn't expecting a crackle effect on this one because I hadn't built it up in layers, but I was simply using the last of the resin. Even so, I still think it's a lovely little bonus piece. Now finally, it was time for the turquoise version, and I genuinely had no idea what to expect when I swapped out the heavy mica powder for the metallic pigment paste. But I absolutely love how this one has turned out. That crackle pattern has developed beautifully, and those turquoise tones work so well with that pearl white. The overall effect is just a little softer than the purple version, but I actually think that suits these colours perfectly. For me, that's the biggest takeaway so far. Once you understand why this technique works, you can start experimenting with different pigments and colour combinations instead of sticking to the traditional gold and white. Right, so time for just one more experiment. So up until now we've been using mica powders for the lighter layer, whether that's the pearl white or the interference, but this time I'm swapping out that white for a pigment paste. So if the weight of the pigments really is affecting the crackle pattern, this should give us another completely different result. So for my transparent layer, I'm going back to the purple dye. This time I'm splitting the test in two. So for two coasters, I'm going to use the gold mica powder as the heavy pigment, whilst the other two, I'm going to use the silver. So gold has always been the classic choice for this technique because it's naturally one of the heavier mica powders. So it'll be really interesting to see how it compares directly with the silver. From this point on, absolutely nothing changes. The pouring order stays exactly the same. Transparent, heavy pigment, white, transparent, white, heavy pigment. And finally, the clear push. That way, the only thing we're testing is the pigment itself. And even after just a few minutes, you can already start to see the subtle differences between the two. And of course, any resin that's left over goes straight into my little spare mould. Waste not, want not. So by this point, I was much more interested in comparing the two sets than actually watching the crackles form. Even at this stage, you could already see the subtle differences between the gold and the silver versions. So once the resin had thickened enough, I added some chunky gold glitter to the centres of the gold coasters. This is going to finish them off nicely without distracting from the crackle pattern. And then I repeated exactly the same thing with some chunky silver glitter for the silver versions. And with everything finished, there was only one thing left to do. Leave them alone and let the resin cure. So after about 40 minutes, this is how they are looking. And so far, I've got high hopes for these. And after curing completely, it was finally time to see how this last experiment had turned out. So let's get them out of the mould. So the first gold coaster. This has turned out beautifully. The crackles are really crisp and the gold catches the light perfectly. The second one, on the other hand, had developed a slightly different pattern. And that's one of the things I love about this technique. Even when you pour two coasters exactly the same, no two are ever identical. So that was the gold, and now it's time for the silver versions. These have still produced a lovely crackle effect, but compared to the gold, they have a much cooler, almost icy appearance. Personally, I think the gold gives a slightly stronger, more defined crackle, but I really like the softer look of the silver too. But my favourite has to be the turquoise. So looking at all three experiments together, they're actually more similar than I expected, and I think that's the biggest lesson from this video. You don't have to stick to one exact recipe. As long as you've got your transparent colour, a heavy pigment, a lighter pigment, and you're clear for the final push, and you're working with a nice thick resin, you can really start experimenting with different colour combinations. But the more I look at them, the more I still think that turquoise one is still my favourite. And with the purple one, I think there was just a little too much of one colour. But when it come to the gold and silver, I definitely preferred the gold. I think it gave a much stronger and more defined crackle pattern. And here's the little leftover coaster. Nothing too exciting with this one. I was simply using up the last of the resin, but even so, it still turned into a nice little piece. So I've actually really enjoyed revisiting this old technique, and looking back, my editing has definitely improved. So I really hope you've enjoyed coming along for this experiment, and if you'd like to see what goes on behind the scenes, the projects that don't always make it into YouTube, plus exclusive tutorials and resin tips, I've now got a Patreon with the different membership levels. So the link to that is down in the description if you'd like to take a look. So I've been Tony from Georgie's Gorgeous Gifts. Stay safe, happy crafting, and bye for now.
Together.